Good evening, everyone. We are live from lockdown. It is 8 o'clock. It is Tuesday. I think it's the 7th. I've completely lost track of dates. But we've been having some great streams, and this is the 10th one. I can't believe when I started out that I'd be doing this on the 10th one, and we're in our second week of lockdown, I think. So I'm not going to babble on too much because I've got two cracking guests, and we've got our first returning guest tonight. He's the only one who you've asked to come back. And no, it's not Addy Sneaker Freak. It is Rob. Say hello to everyone again, Rob.
Evening. How are you, Dana? You all right, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very well, mate. Thank you. Very well. Not too bad at all. Thank you very much for having me back.
Well, my hand was kind of forced, really. One, because you're the only person people have asked to have back on. And two, my second guest, he's kind of linked you, really. And it's not me or two to UK. So, without babbling on too much, you all want to know who my second guest is. Please bear with him. He's got up at 3:30 in the morning to be on here. And he's big in Japan. It's Busabi. Say hello to everyone, James.
Hi.
Evening, mate.
Yeah, you said it's the 7th. It's the 8th. It's the 8th.
No, it's the 7th here.
At 4 fucking o'clock in the morning.
Stu says it's his mate Rob, but the truth is, it's not actually Stu's mate Rob, is it? It's your mate James, really.
It's my mate Rob. You leave him alone. You get off him.
Stu's desperate for friends, though, you know. So
I was adopted.
Like that.
He adopted me when you left me.
It's true. I abandoned
in a field somewhere in Leicester at 6 in the morning. Look at car boots. He picked me up and looked after me.
Yeah. So we went car booting one day. I said I'll be back in 5, but I weren't.
Seen him since.
Funnily enough, I've heard a very similar story about Rob going out somewhere and then not coming back. I think he went out, didn't he, for a Chinese and then never came back one night. Is that true?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah. I weren't my proudest moment. It wasn't my proudest.
Was that which one was that?
Her name was Sarah.
Sarah. Was that in Beaumont Leeds?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know the story now, Rob, before we go on to James, because we've kind of mentioned it.
Oh, okay. Well, it was...
If you're comfortable about telling, 15 people other than me and James...
I'll tell it quickly then. I was living with a girl, and I thought, well, I need to sort of end this, finish it. So I rang her from work one day and said, look, I need to speak to you. Now, with hindsight, I think she thought I was probably going to ask her to marry her because when she was all dressed up. So she said, I thought we could go out. I was like, okay. Anyway, being the coward that I am, I couldn't say anything, so I just sort of left it like that. But then when we got home, I said, do you want Chinese? She said, yeah, that'd be great. And I never went home.
And she's still sat there now with no Chinese.
I have thought that was 20 years ago. I have thought about wandering back in with one.
You need a mouldy one that's gone off, order one and then leave it for a couple of months and then take it back.
Like I say,
you never believe what's just happened.
You don't believe where I've just been. So anyway, we've had a Rob story. Tell us about you, James, because you've been off the tubes for a while. Tell us where you are, because everyone might not even know where you disappeared to. Because you did one video and that was fucking it, how to open a Famicom game.
Yeah, I mean, I have all these ideas of doing YouTube, and I aspire to do YouTube, but I just never get around to it. I always have these ideas, and they're always really perfect inside my head, and then it just never works out. So I never get around to filming it, or never even bother uploading it. Yeah, I'm a bit anal, really, and I think it has to be perfect.
Yeah, we know about that.
I can contact for that,
yeah. We've got Darth Steve in the comments. I know you both know Darth Steve quite well.
Yeah.
Evening, Steve.
Yeah, it's good to see Steve back, even though he was a little bit squashed in 4x3, and his camera looked like it was straight out of 1989.
You see,
He's gone. Go on, Rob.
Like when James started collecting, I didn't watch YouTube channels or anything like that. But then sort of what James kind of got me into collecting a little bit, and he met Stu. So he was talking about Stu, and he said, I'd seen him on YouTube, blah blah blah, and so then I think he'd watched Steve as well. So he told me about Darth Steve. So like the first couple of people that I sort of watched on YouTube, with games was Tootie and Darth Steve. So and then obviously they're both local, so I've seen them around the car booters. Obviously I've got to know Stu now, and still see Steve. So yeah, it's kind of like when I see Steve, it always sort of takes me back to when I first started collecting.
I've got a little bit of a confession for Darth Steve. I don't know if he remembers, but he bought a Super Scope from the car boot one time, and I'm sure it was me and Rob. Me and Rob was walking around one of the car boots together, and we saw Steve coming towards us, and he looked pleased as punch that he'd picked up this Super Scope. He had it sort of hanging out his rucksack, and what he didn't know was that there was nothing inside that Super Scope, and he'd actually bought it off my missus's store. And obviously I didn't tell her it didn't work, because otherwise she wouldn't have sold it. He only paid £1 for it, but yeah, it will never work. And he was hoping to like pick up the other, the sensor box and stuff like that for it, but yeah,
a pound's all right. It's a bargain still.
A pound for a shell is fine, isn't it? Really.
Is that why you went to Japan? Because you sold Darth Steve for dodgy Super Scope?
No, but that was in one of the clear outs. Yeah, that we took a load of stuff to the car boot. Well, all the broken stuff to the car boot.
I think Steve must have picked most of it, because I think there's kind of a running joke. He buys broken stuff from the boot, isn't he? He's just replied. He goes, I remember. He said it was good for spares. So how did you two meet? Was it through work?
Yeah.
Was you Rob's boss?
Yeah, Rob came for a job interview at our place. Obviously it was love at first sight. And
nobody else went for the interview.
Yeah. No one else went to the interview. We searched high and low. Couldn't find anyone ridiculous enough to take on the position.
I begged. No, it was good actually. It was quite good. I'm still there now, where we worked, and yeah, James was my manager, and it was nice.
Is your new manager better?
Do I manage it better?
No. Oh, did you have James's job? I was going to say, do you have a better manager now? Is what I was going to ask.
I kind of essentially took James's job after he went.
Are you better at it than James? Did he teach you everything you knew?
I think to be honest, I think we work better together.
That is the gayest thing ever said on this stream.
You what, mate?
There's nothing wrong with being gay, Dana.
Only with each other.
Yeah.
But I do remember when I first joined there was two other guys, and they weren't like us. Their humour wasn't
dark.
And James is actually very
dark, twisted.
James is really quiet, and I talk loud.
Every time he slags you off,
I'm afraid.
Rob, every time you tell a good story, it breaks up. Yeah.
His
Sorry.
internet's been fine, like all through like the pre-show, and now it's starting to be a cunt.
Is it?
It's probably because all his messages are going off on his phone.
No,
Is
they
this
shouldn't
someone
be.
to do with you, James, in the comments?
It's Busabi Boy 101.
I don't know. I have a feeling that could be someone we have to keep an eye on in the comments. So how did you both, like, did James encourage you to get into gaming, or were you both into gaming, or
Well,
how
we
did
used
that
to
whole
talk.
thing start?
Well, I say we used to talk. I used to do the talking. James would just like, he wouldn't even listen really. He used to just sort of stare at me a lot, but it didn't put me off at all. So in the end,
You
James,
see, this isn't true. What Rob's getting confused about is is Rob used to tell stories all the time. You know, like you're talking like 20 stories a day, and inevitably he forgets which story is told to which person. So
he
you end up
walked off.
hearing the same story, and that's when I go, "Oh, I've heard this story before," and then he thinks I'm just being ignorant and rude, but it's not. It's just that I've heard that particular story 3 times already.
Yeah, but if you weren't a fucking mong and spoke back to me rather than fucking 18 hours a day, we used to work really long hours as well, and you know, it's just you know, my way of getting through the day. But after time, I mean, there was the first thing I remember really realizing about James is the more offensive you could be to him, the more he found it funny. Likewise, to be honest with you. Now, we both worked in a very, very corporate environment where it was incredibly frowned upon. Rob gets stressed.
That's Stu. I don't know what that comment's about. I just sit here and thought it was interesting.
So it was kind of when you're in a very corporate environment for that long in a day, it was kind of like relief to you know, for someone to sort of really give you some shit, really give you some stick. And that was the first thing I noticed about James. And so I really quite like that. And then when we worked one another out and we knew that we could just about say anything to one another without really offending or it being a problem or it going anywhere, then we started to, you know, get on really quite well. But I think as well, we both had quite a lot of similar interests. James is, I don't know how old you are, but I know you're younger than me.
I was born in 1980, so...
Yeah, you're 4 years younger than me, but we still had, you know, quite similar interests. And like James was into wrestling as you know, when he was younger. So was I. I know you are, Dana. You know, used to love that. We used to talk about that all day long. We used to talk about video games, and then it sort of, you know, I think James started to collect first, and he used to pick bits and bobs up, and you know, talk about it, and then. Sometimes, I mean, I've always liked just going around car boots anyway and picking bits and pieces up. So sometimes I'd be at a car boot, but I didn't. Even now, I still don't know a lot about games. I still don't fully understand. I've got, you know, a tiny percentage of the knowledge that the likes of yourselves and people like Stu have got about games. But James's actual knowledge, you know, of games was incredible, really. But I'd go around car boots and I'd see little things and I'd pick them up and I'd think, fucking, he's going to love this. He is going to love this. And I'd get to work on Monday and I'd be like, I don't know. Look, James, look what I got you. And he'd just get it. He'd just get it like that and throw it straight in the bin. Just fuck it in the bin. And not even look at me. I'd be like, what, you done that? He'd be like, shit. See, this is the thing, like he was saying earlier. He is very anal. And everything has to be perfect, but that's a good thing. That's a good trait because, you know, I've had games off him. So if you're buying something off of James, or you know he's gifting you something, it's going to be like it's off the shelf. But yeah, obviously it used to make us laugh. And then I sort of got into just picking bits and pieces up as well, and it just sort of went from there. So then we'd go the car boots together and pick bits and pieces up. But I think. Like although it was a common interest, we both sort of enjoyed different things. Because James quite likes his handhelds and his Game Boys and his Wii and stuff like that. Whereas I've never really been into the handhelds so much. So we'd always sort of be just gifting one another things, swapping, you know, finding bits and pieces for one another. Like I was saying on the stream the other night, you know, James would look on Marketplace. If it was near me, he'd send me. I remember.
What like you fucking do to me now and send me to the back end of fucking Birmingham?
Yeah, but Dana, what I don't do, mate, is communicate with the person like you're that person.
Yeah, that was funny when you reminded me of that story.
You tell it. You tell it.
Well, from my point of view, there was a guy selling something or other. I can't remember what it was. Either I wasn't in a position to go get it myself.
It was a Super Nintendo and a couple of games, and you wanted one of the games.
Possibly.
On the monster estate, a rough estate.
Yeah, I forget the detail, but I do. Well, I'd forgotten until you mentioned it. Yeah.
No. I didn't. We're getting wires crossed. I'm talking about the one where you were still talking to the man like you were me, and you told them, "I'm in a gay yellow car."
Oh yeah. No, I was referring back to your story from the other day when I rang you because I'd not heard from you, and I was like, "So how did it go?" And you went, I told you, I texted you," and I was like, "No, you not texted me, mate." And he looks on his phone and he realised he's texted the guy that he's just bought the stuff off, telling him what a smelly old twat he was.
Oh dear.
So what's this one about the gay yellow car?
So it was like I can't remember what it was, something on Gumtree or whatever, and I'm texting him, asking more information, blah blah blah. But then I'm also texting Rob at the same time saying, "Oh, is this pickup?" Blah blah blah. And I think Rob was like, "Well, I'm not too far away. I can go and get it." So I'm texting the man as if I'm coming to get it, but it's actually Rob that's going to go and get it. So obviously I had a little bit of fun with it, saying, "I'm coming now. I'm in a big gay yellow car. If you're up for it,
These fucking guys, though, there was no address, there was no house. He'd arranged to meet them in this street, and it was a real rough estate that I drove onto. They'd obviously just been in someone's house and nicked this stuff. And if you can imagine, for like 3/4 of an hour, they've been texting James. I've got no idea of this, but I just got out of the car and they looked at me as if like, "You're the fucking weirdest bloke ever." We got the stuff, didn't we? We got.
So we'll talk about James's obsession with perfection, because I mean, the first thing that draws my eye is that Virtual Boy. You are obsessed with your own collection being mint and perfect, aren't you?
I wouldn't say obsessed, but yeah, I do. I like things to be as nice as possible.
I'll say anything I've bought off you has come in the best condition that I've had anything come from Japan from.
I mean, I do a lot of selling, and I try. I don't like selling stuff that's crap. Well, I just don't. I try not to buy things that are in crappy condition. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's an obsession, but it's quite simple. I just wouldn't buy it if it's in bad condition. But if it's cheap, I'll have it, and I'll upgrade things. I always end up upgrading stuff, and I'll end up buying like 15 Virtual Boys and just make the best set.
But there's nothing wrong with that, to be fair. I think we all do that. We have like stop gaps. I know Stu does it all the while. Like he'll buy a version.
Before I left, it was a few years ago now. I don't know why, because it's a really shitty game, but it's a Wii game called Inazuma 11, and I ordered it from CEX, and it came. I think it even had a copied case, the copied sleeve, and so I ordered another one, and that came, and it was like battered or whatever. So I just thought, fuck it, I'll just order the whole lot, the whole stock, and there was like about seven games in stock. So they came out, and I had a pile of Inazuma 11s, and I picked out the best case, and the best sleeve, and the best looking disc, and the best manual, And then I just went down to Stu's local CEX and just took them all back. And obviously they're like, why did you order, 15 copies of Inazuma 11? And it's like, so I can just, because you keep sending me shit, so I just order them all, pick the best one, and then you can have the rest back. But because I did that, because I ordered that every single one that was in stock, when things go out of stock, it tends to, I don't know if they have a bot or what, but they put the price up because they think, oh, it's popular, we'll put the price up. So this game went from sort of like 25 quid to 45 quid just because I bought the whole entire stock of them.
Don't get telling Stu that he's already blooming trying to con him out of everything else. CX and the whole UK is like on lockdown from giving anyone games out now because of Stu changing his manuals and everything.
Well, I don't think they should change things because I don't know. That's why we use them. If they're going to stop people taking things back and that, then I think they'll see their trade dip.
Yeah, well,
I don't think me and Stu were the only ones.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, when I went to take some stuff back at Blackpool at the event last year, they really scrutinised everything and they've started taking photos. And I know Stu's had a similar sort of thing recently. But at the end of the day, they need to understand real collectors who are buying from there, they want it in as good a condition as you possibly can get it. And it's up to them to grade it better. They need a better grading, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I ever used CEX, and I ordered Sin and Punishment on the Wii, and it came without a manual. And I was like, well, I'm not having that. That's bullshit. I need the manual, of course. So I went down to the shop, my local shop, and I said I want to return it, and they're like, but why? And I was like, because it's not got a manual. And they're like, well, it doesn't need a manual for us to sell it. I was like, yeah, but it needs a manual for me to buy it. But luckily they had a copy in stock, and after like a 30-minute showdown, the manager came out and said, we've got one in stock. If it's got a manual, you can have the manual from that. Are you going to be good with that? And I was like, yeah, I'll be sweet with that. So she just took the manual out and gave it me, and jobs are good. And but
Dylan's got a question.
They came to know me, and they knew what I was about. So.
What's it called? Dylan's got a question for you, James. If you don't know Dylan, he's one of the guys who I messaged you about who's pretty big into his Japanese collecting. Where does James source most of his stock in Japan?
I mean, all sorts of places, really. I mean, it's a lot easier to just get the stuff online. So, like, for example, when you wanted that Samurai Pizza Cat, I just went online and bought it. But I enjoy, going out to the hard offs and the book offs and the other recycle-y kind of, they're kind of like a charity shops, and they're kind of like you cash converters, but they're different, very, very different.
We'll get onto that in a bit, because I want Rob we'll talk about your time in Japan and you picking stuff up in Japan and how different it is. Rob, you might be interested in this one. Someone's asked, thoughts on recent Wii value increases? How many did we walk past at the boot sale? You've been doing well with your Wiis over the last month. Well, since lockdown, really, ain't you?
Yeah. I don't know what they're at the minute. It's like I was saying the other day, I always pick them up if they're like a couple of quid or whatever, and just sling them all in a box. I just do the same as you guys, really. And then from time to time, when I've got the chance, I clean them up and take them to CX. But it did get to the stage where they were so worthless, it wasn't worth carrying them around. So, you'd probably just want to take the Wiimotes out. So, and also, I get a bit frustrated taking consoles to like CEX because you have to sort of wait for them to test them. And like they're very fussy, the CEX that I go to. And I don't know, it just seems to take them too long for the little bit of money that you get. So it's usually I'll pick them up if they've got some games with them. That's the thing, and just clean the games up and chuck chuck those in. Hence, I had boxes of them. And like I say, I just had one on Marketplace. And then when we got locked down, nobody's inquired about it for 12 months. And then, you know, in a couple of days, you've got 30 or 40 messages. So it was like, okay, well, let's just it frees some room, or anything to free some room. You know, I don't know. Well, I've got an idea how you are, Dana. You know, I know you built a shed purposely to put all your stock in, didn't you? You know,
and the loft. You boarded the loft out as well.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with doing what we do and going to charity shops and car boots, because me and Stu have spoken about it before, particularly charity shops. You know, when you go regularly and they then start to save stuff for you, which you know, the ones that I go into do now, which is great, but then you can't sort of be fussy. You kind of have to have it as well. I don't, you know, I think Stu does the same. It's just you just go in. If they've saved it for you, you have it. All right. Half the time, it's a bit rubbish. So, you know, it sort of goes in a box in the shed, you know, in the garage or whatever. And I have got stuff absolutely everywhere now. And also, I don't know if you know, but I did a little local event earlier in the summer. I did it a few times. It was good fun actually, but to do it, I sort of had to get as many CRTs as I could. So I think I've got 34 CRTs in one of the garages as well as obviously then you need the consoles for it, and they all need to be a bit different and you know, stuff like that. So I've got far too much stuff. So it's great if you can get rid of, you know, 3 boxes of Wii's, isn't it? You know, just 20 quid each, just bang, 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 knocking them out.
I've just read in the comments they're 40 quid trading now at CX. And also, I looked yesterday, the PlayStation 2s are now over 30 quid trading. So everything's going up even more. So it's probably time to send some shit into them. But I'm like you, Rob, not so much with charity shops. I have contacts from obviously off Spock and Facebook Marketplace. And they'll message me and offer me stuff. And I'm like, I don't really want it, but I don't want them to not sell me anything better in the future. It's what they might like. The first time you say no, they're going to be offering to someone else. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to keep saying yes, and hopefully they'll get more good than shit. If you know what I mean.
I had an absolutely brilliant contact, and he used to get some good stuff, and it was every Saturday night. It wasn't pinched as such, but he was a real good contact. But I think he liked his drugs, and I think that, you know, it was a Saturday night and he'd need some money. And I made the mistake of lending him money one night when he hadn't got anything, and I haven't seen him since. But that was a shame, because it used to get to about 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, and I used to think, oh, I wonder what I'm getting tonight. And, you know, he got to learn what I liked and what have you. I think he probably worked at one of the local tips or something like that, you know, and I used to get some bits and pieces. I just, you know, he's gone off the face of the earth, because one night he just rang me and said, can you just lend me some money? And I did. So that was a shame. They come and they go, mate, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Cooking.
I was going to say, who's burning the chips? James,
Yeah.
question.
That's the fire alarm cheering her on.
What's better, book offs or hard off?
Depends what you're looking for. Really depends on the book off and the hard off as well, because you know, you can go to a book off in an area, it'd be great. You can go to a hard off in another area, it'd be great. Hard off in another area, it'd be shit. You know, so it's all different. I personally prefer hard off, because I don't know why, but I'm always drawn to the hardware, which is primarily sold in hard offs. Book off is essentially basically a used bookshop. You know, you go and sell your books, but they also take games. And then hard off is where you would take, you know, your TVs and your stereos and games consoles. So, and hard off tend to have a junk section where not all book offs do have junk sections, which is basically stuff that they've either tested, it's not worked, it looks in bad condition, or they just never got around to testing and just put it in the junk box. So I quite like looking through.
I've never had so many questions in the comments. I think it's because we got you both on, and I know obviously Rob doesn't do a channel very often, and you've not done nothing at all. No, Rob's not got a channel. You don't do anything very often anymore. Rob, someone's interested in your PVMs. We talked about this off air last time, and I forgot to mention it. How many tellies you got in that room?
Well, firstly, I mean, this actually again stems from James. It genuinely does. It's you know, my interest in like the CRTs and the PVMs. Yeah, there's a few PVMs. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 PVMs in here. But again, when I sort of when I got into like collecting, and you know, I'd sit at work with James and we'd chat. James was very knowledgeable on the best way, you know, to output certain systems, certain consoles, depending on what era it was from. And again, he sort of wouldn't have it really any other way. You know, to the point, you know, if I got, I don't know, a Master System, for instance, he'd be like, you know, you don't want the Mark II, throw it the fucker in the bin. You know, the Mark I will output in RGB, and I was just like, what outputs in what? You know, I didn't know any of this at all. And I was like, you just scenario in the back, isn't it? You know, that's how I used to have my Amiga through the modulator as a kid. And he was like, no, you know, no, and it, you know, he probably won't admit it, but it would frustrate him. You know, my the lack of knowledge of these things. You know, I actually genuinely found it very interesting. And then when you start to look into it and you do something, see, I started off like hooking all the old consoles up to like, you can't sort of see it. It's all, I've got like a big TV. And when I told James what I was doing, he wasn't having any of that at all, you know. And then, but I do recall from that him gifting me a component cable for the GameCube, which was just, you know, brilliant. So then you learn, you know, you go from your composite to component and you see it change. And then he taught me about, you know, CRTs. And I mean, the guy's knowledge on interlacing and stuff like that is still, you know, very much beyond me. But I do appreciate it now much more. I have to eat this shit.
I was just going to say, I don't think I fancy fucking your dinner tonight, Rob. What you got? Bag of scratchings that was a pork joint.
What we got there? Oh, fish fingers. What a delight.
Black chips again.
But yes.
Go on. Stu's asked, because Stu won't admit it, but he misses you, James, and he wants to know how are you coping with lockdown. And we had a little brief chat about that before we come on air. So if you want to fill everyone in on to what's going on over a very long way away in Japan where you are.
Well, yesterday, the Prime Minister declared a state of emergency in, I think it's 6 prefectures. One of them is the prefecture that I live in, which is Hyogo. And I don't think much will change, to be honest, because it's just like, it's before your lockdown, Boris said, you know, don't go out. That's all they can do. They don't really have the power to fine you or anything like that if you do go out. So I don't think much will change. I think some restaurants will stop because they'll pay them. They'll essentially give them the money that they're going to lose out on. But for most people, they'll just carry on, I imagine.
It was interesting what the BBC said. They actually said, because obviously you've just said they don't have the power to lock you down, but they're relying on the Japanese people being a more orderly and respectful people than the fucking dickheads we have here in the UK, really. I think that's what they're kind of relying on.
Yeah, I don't know whether that'll work out. I mean, I don't know. Apart from like the festivals, people don't really gather in groups anyway. All the sporting events and stuff like that that was cancelled months ago. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, as long as the post offices are still open, I'll still go to the post office. I've got loads of stock. I don't need to go out sourcing.
Hugh asks, are Japanese people more aware of it? Now, I'm assuming he means coronavirus and not the clown Pennywise.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's aware of it. You can't not be aware, can you? You know.
Nah, you really can't.
Yeah. You know, you go like at my local post office. They've got alcohol when you walk in. You wipe your hands and you do what you do, and you wipe your hands on the way out. And
You mean alcohol hand wash there? Because Stu probably
Yeah.
got really excited there when he found out you had alcohol in your post office.
yeah, there's me with the. But you know, everyone wears masks and stuff here anyway. Like when they've got a cold or whatever. So everyone's wearing masks. So.
Is that round 3 of your fish fingers, Rob? That hit 1 in the comments if you want to eat Rob's dinner tonight. Someone's asked something that I'm not even going to try and pronounce, so I hope you can read this, James. It's something about some festival.
So Hanami, as it's known, that was, I don't know what. I mean, there's Sakura around now. I don't know. I don't know. It's just whenever the Sakura comes out in your area, you know, and then that weekend everyone goes to where there's lots of Sakura, usually on a park somewhere, and has a picnic and whatnot. But you know, I'm sure some people will still do it, but there'll be a lot of people that won't.
So we'll talk about your gaming history, because obviously we had Rob's the other day. So where did gaming start for you, and how did you end up where you are now?
So back in the 80s, so mid 80s, is probably my earliest memories of games. I've got an older brother, and he had some Game & Watches. He had a Intellivision, and he also had a Spectrum Plus, so it was the 48K Plus. And I used to use his Game & Watches and the Intellivision. I remember he had a football game, and he had the little plastic cards that sort of slid over the controller, because it was like a phone, you know, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you put a plastic.
The overlays, like.
And you know, that was like left and right and stuff like that. I remember that. I remember when I was a little bit more older, so 6, 7, a couple of friends had NESs. Remember playing sort of Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, but I never really cared for. I liked playing games, but I never really felt that I needed my own or anything like that. And then when I was probably about 8 or 9. I had a friend who had a Commodore 64, and later he had a Mega Drive. And it wasn't until I went to another friend's house, and it was when Mario Brothers 3 came out, and that was the first point of I was completely blown away by Mario Brothers 3, and I wanted my own NES. But at this point, there was you know, stories about the Super Nintendo coming out, and the Game Boy. So I think my first system that I ever owned, that I got for my birthday and Christmas of, I think it was 90 or 91, around that time, I got a Nintendo Game Boy. And then the following Christmas, I got a Super Nintendo. So that's where it all really kicked off for me. And after that, my stepbrother, he had a Sega Saturn. I had a Nintendo 64, although I was working by the time the Nintendo 64 came out. So it's not really a childhood memory.
It's not a childhood, just gaming history, like.
The thing that kicked it all off for me.
You had an Xbox though, didn't you? Didn't you have a green modded Xbox as well? I know you probably wouldn't have been, you know, a child, but there's a bit of a story attached to that, isn't there? Because it came back, didn't it?
Well, yeah, actually, the guy that's just commented on the Sakura Festival, he's actually, well, I'm assuming he's still got it, the green Xbox. So I can't remember when the Xbox came out. Early 2000s, 2001, 2002, maybe 2003.
It's probably around that era. It's very early 2000s.
And I remember a friend of mine had an Xbox at launch, and I hated it. I just thought it was big, ugly. The controller. I mean, I've got quite small hands, and the controller was just fucking massive. It's like
the big Duke one, the Duke.
Yeah, and I hated it, but I liked some of the games. I just hated the system, and I really detested the control pad. So I wasn't really interested in it. But then when they brought out the S control pad, and I probably tried it out in a shop or something, I was like, yeah, this is nice. And I went and bought one, which was the green one. And then there was a guy that used to come and fix a printer at work. He modified them, so I got it modified with, so it could play all sorts of other stuff, you know, like MAME and stuff like that. And then I don't know, when I was getting married, he still has it. Well, it's not the Duke, it's a small controller. But anyway, yeah, when I was getting married, I basically sold all my stuff. I had a GameCube, PlayStation 2, the original Xbox, a Dreamcast, and a Game Boy Advance, and I sold it all off to get some money so we could, you know, move out and get a place. And I sold the green Xbox to a friend of mine, and then, well, maybe 5 years ago, I was walking around the car boot, and there was the guy that I sold it to. And I was like, "Oh, you all right, mate? You know, not seen you for ages, blah, 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 blah." Looks down at his table, and I'm like, "Is that my Xbox?" He's like, and I was like, "Oh, how much? I need to buy it back." So I got it back. And then I didn't bring it with me. I left it at another friend's house that's just commented down.
So I'm guessing that's someone else from Leicester who's in the comments, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it's all right, because he subbed to my channel today, and I just wondered where he'd come from, and then he was obviously...
I sent him a text before I went to bed saying I'm going to be on YouTube at 8 p.m. So,
which is 4 a.m. your time, just in case you wanted to remind us all again.
It's now 4:43.
Mind you, a similar thing. I brought a guy's collection. What would it be? Probably 2 months ago. It was a small collection. I don't know really why he was selling it. He said he wanted some money for the new Xbox when it came out or whatever. But I went in and sort of just scooped everything up, and I noticed I did think I sort of half recognised this guy, but I sort of scooped everything up. And when I got home, there was a Saturn, and inside it was Sonic Jam, just the disc. And I'd sold that to him at a car boot. I don't know, a few years ago. I mean, I'm convinced it was the same one. I mean, it wasn't mine from childhood, but I do think that, and it made me wonder how many times I've sold stuff and then ended up buying it back in bulk.
You should write your name on it, like fucking everyone else seemed to do in the 90s, man. I've got loads of Mega Drive games with Jimmy V written on fucking everything. If I ever met him, I'd fucking kill him. So, James, everyone's commenting. It seems you've supplied most of YouTube with something retro, including myself and Rob. So talk about your shop and your eBay store, because you know, you might as well plug it and promote it while you're here.
Yeah, so I mean, that's how I essentially make my money out here. It doesn't make me a ton of money, which is unfortunate, but
he weighs all the innards of the Super Scopes in.
and sell them to Cinny Steve for £1 each to sell.
God, Steve.
I'm actually at the minute I'm looking into arcade stuff, so I can actually supply Cindy Steve with something. But no, yeah, I've got a couple of eBay. I've got 4 eBay accounts. The Kimiina one is the one that I sell all the, the quality gaming stuff on. Obviously, it's marked up for eBay. So if anyone ever checks it out and wants to buy anything, then message me directly, because obviously the eBay items are marked up for the eBay PayPal fees, and also it's got costs built in there for people fucking me around as well. So if you do a deal direct, then obviously you'll get a discount.
Darth Steve said he's not fucking falling for it twice. He don't want no super scope, as we know in it. Are you being supplied with some coffee there? Oh.
That's sealed.
No, it's not. It is got a plastic around it, but it's not the original seal. So I can send you this with or without bricks inside, Steve.
Price to be agreed. Are you the one who started Stu off bagging everything up? Bagging the manuals and everything? Because that's catching, because I do it now.
No. It's Rob. That's Rob that's done that. All my games are in bags, and it's because of Rob.
I think I probably started that. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, we had some bags at work, and it was like, oh, they're a nice little size. And we started bagging games up. So we obviously contacted the supplier and made our own personal account and bought some bags.
He's looking away now as though you probably weren't supposed to have done that or something.
I think it does sort of it keeps them clean, doesn't it? And it's good. I like to have them bagged up, clean them, I'm in bags, and that's it then, isn't it?
Yeah, but does it make them a bore? See, I've started doing it, but I don't want to get to the stage where I'm bagging up plastic. Like, I don't want to be putting that in a bag, because I want to be able to get that out and play it. I don't want to get to that extreme, because I do play these quite a bit. Because you'll get through some bags because they'll start ripping everything.
I don't know. I mean, the bags are not that much hassle, I don't think. They're sort of like the resealable. I mean, these are not the bags. These are bags from like Daiso or something like that, which is like a town shop, and you get about 20 bags, 25 bags for 100 yen, which is about 70p. Wasn't too difficult to get that out of the bag. It's more difficult to get it back in.
Dylan's asked, isn't there a store in Tokyo called Beef? They sell arcade boards. I don't know. You probably know more than me.
Quite possibly. I mean, I'm not in Tokyo. I'm further south than Tokyo. I'm in the greater Osaka Kobe metropolitan area. But I wouldn't buy anything from those kind of shops. If I bought things from Super Potato and those kind of places, then there'd be no profit in it for me. So,
is your dog behaving now, Rob?
Well, he was barking, so I thought I'd bring him in here and give him a biscuit.
You know why he was barking? He was choking with your burning fish fingers. That's why he was warning you the house was burning down.
I think it's his way of laughing. I think it's like, you got to eat that shit. Dog food. He'll start again now. It's gone.
Your friend James, I'm not going to try and pronounce his channel name. Have you found Samurai Showdown on the Wii yet?
Yeah, I have. Obviously, it's called Samurai Spirits in Japan, but Same game.
How is the Wii collection coming on, James? Like,
I mean, since I've been here, I've probably
he
added.
was going for a full collection. I know that might have changed, but
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to go for a full collection because there's far too much shit on it. There's probably a handful of games that I'd like to get in English, so like the PAL versions ideally, but other than that, I don't know. I kind of argue with myself. Am I still collecting or not? I don't know. I do occasionally add to the collection, so I guess yeah, I am still collecting. I don't dream of getting rid of any of my stuff, unless I really needed to. But I'm not really actively collecting anymore.
I know when we used to talk, because obviously you like your Game Boy stuff, and that's something I don't really know too much about. But we used to sort of like talk. And I know one of the games that you were always looking for was something called Trip World. Did you ever get it?
Yeah, I do have Trip World somewhere. There's.
So what? Explain, because I mean, I know that's quite an expensive. Is it rare? It's certainly rare, isn't it?
I don't think it is. Certainly not in Japan. I could go on the internet and buy 20 copies of it straight away. It is expensive for a Game Boy game. It'd probably cost about £80 to buy, but it was certainly a lot cheaper than if you went and looked on eBay. Oh, I don't know about now because I haven't really looked. But when I was after it 4 years ago, it would go for about £150, and I paid probably about £35 for
that. So I'm just scrolling through questions. So I'm getting tons of questions. Ali Sneaker Freak, what took James over to Japan in the first place? So I'm assuming, how come you moved?
It was a thing called an aeroplane.
I think he means the story of how come you've wound up moving from lovely Leicestershire to Japan.
I don't know, just fancied a change, really. There's lots of little reasons, but yeah, ultimately, I just fancied a bit of a change. That's it in a nutshell.
You just fancied a change, so
it's like a new challenge, and I'd been working for Next for 15 years. I wasn't despondent or anything like that. I just, lots of changes happened, and I was just getting a little bit frustrated and fed up. So
Wanker left me.
And it's difficult working with Rob. He's so fucking handsome that it's hard. It's hard. There's only so many times you can go to the toilet.
Stu says, was it sexy Japanese ladies?
I mean, no, that wasn't the part of the decision, though.
But are you enjoying it over there? Obviously, I know you miss your friends because whenever we speak, you always say you miss Stu and Rob. But other than that, do you like it out there?
Yeah, I do like it out here better. I mean, the weather is better. Although since I've gotten, the UK has decided that it's changed its climate. From what I can see, that the winters are quite mild now, and the summer was blistering hot last year.
Yeah, but we might have a random day of snow in fucking April. That's the thing we've got now. We don't have snow in the winter.
In the winter, it's much nicer because it still gets pretty cold, but it's always sunny. So you don't get that grey, cloudy day after day. It's just always nice and bright and sunny, and just just a bit cold. But in the summer, it does get a little bit too warm.
Well, Rob will verify. Yeah, ever since we've been put in lockdown, we haven't had a rainy day. Since
Yeah.
the lockdown in the UK, there's not been a rainy day. We're all sat here.
That's it. And the day that you come out of lockdown, it'll go cold and be just pissing down with rain.
And all the booters will be off.
Do you have car boots in Japan?
Yes. Essentially, I mean, they don't call them car boots. They call them flea, which is basically a shortened version of flea market. But,
you did a video on that when you was that when you went over on holiday, or was that when you actually moved there? You did a walk around video. I remember
those videos were actually the year before I came out to live. So they were 2016, and we came out in 2017. But yeah, that's it. I would say the majority of the time they don't have the car there. You know, you sort of have to park your car in a car park, and you have to lug your stuff to the place.
So it's like doing an event for.
They do have the cars there, so it is essentially a car boot. But
it's like doing an event then for Steve Smith, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Had to park somewhere and then carry your stuff.
Yeah, but to be fair, you don't find many gaming stuff in flea markets. I think people are quite conscious that they don't want to sell something that they know that doesn't work and stuff like that. So you don't often see it. But when you do, it's cheap. You know, I have picked up Super Famicoms and stuff like that for like the equivalent of 70p and stuff like that. So
see, the first time I met you was at an event with Stu, and then obviously Stu replaced you with Rob because he needed a new driver. Is there anything like that at all in Japan?
What, drivers?
No, I'm imagining the drivers. I'm talking about gaming events. You know, because I'm a complete novice. I don't know what it's like out in Japan. Do they have designated gaming events or markets like we have?
I'm sure they probably do, but I'm not aware of them. But yeah, I guess they probably do. Obviously they have Tokyo Game Show, but that's another level gaming event, I guess.
Yeah. Also, while I've got you here, who's to blame for the Barnsley event that we all went to? Because Stu, now he's here, he says it was all you because you're not here to defend yourself.
Whoever the dickhead was that organised it, he's clearly to blame for it.
Because Stu's saying it was your idea to do it, because he's the one who recommended me, so I blamed him for me being there. I can't blame anyone for me being there the second time. That was my fault.
That's irrelevant, isn't it? I mean, the guy that organised it was a complete bellend. He thought he could put on a gaming event and not advertise it, and
yeah, and people would come.
Yeah, if he kind of took the advice of if you build it, they will come, but they didn't.
Yeah. Do you find much time to play retro? That's your friend again asking that question. Do you play much?
I could do. I tend not to. I mean, recently I played through Mario World on the Super Famicom. I actually did it twice because I stupidly tested a faulty controller with my Super Mario World cartridge in the thing, and it just wiped the cartridge. I was particularly mad at myself because I even knew that this could happen, and I even thought to myself, "Oh, I really shouldn't be testing this with my Mario World in there." And sure enough, it deleted it, so I had to do it all again. But no, generally I don't. I like the idea, but I don't. I mainly play the Switch.
So. My Switch is permanently docked. This I found impressive statement from Stu again. We've never had a night out, James and me. How have you managed to go anywhere with Stu and then not go on a night out with him?
I don't know. I guess because it's always just been day events. I never went to Blackpool. Still never been to Blackpool. and all the other sort of events have been day events, and also, most of the time I was driving, so I couldn't really drink even on those sort of day events. So
James is like me though. We neither of us could drink a lot. Me and James went out a few times. We'd be fucking hammered by 7:10 in the evening, the pair of us. and James is a fucking nightmare when he's drunk. A night. Fucking
Please
night.
tell us these stories. I'm interested now. You've got me interested. Because I've never seen Rob drunk. I just see him hungover. I don't see Rob drunk. He's just like this.
Well, I was drunk on the stream the other night. You know, like I was saying just before pre-show. I walked straight off here and threw up. You know,
that's definitely a first for the stream. We made one of our guests sick.
That's why I'm on coffee tonight. I said to my wife, I said, "Oh, I'm going to go on the stream with the guys." She went, "Are you going to be sick again?" I said, "No, I'm not drinking tonight."
You don't get this sort of quality on any other YouTube channel other than here.
But no, I know. I've not long been working with James, and like I say, we work for a big corporate, and we had a party, and they put the beer on. You know, I think it was a pound a bottle. Can you remember the big summer ball thing that we went to?
Oh yes, that was great. That was.
And I know we'd had our 4 bottles and we were drunk, and and like there's 5,000 work at just our head office, you know, something like that. So you know, you can tell that the very senior management were there, and James decided it'd be a good idea if me and him went over and had a chat with them, but fortunately they did wander away from us when they seen our rolling eyes, so that was good. So you know, we lived to see another day there, and I do remember thinking he's a fucker when he's drunk. And I remember we had another incident again similar. We'd gone to a party, and we were being pretty naughty really, because I think we'd both gone with the
Oh, he's telling the story again and he's froze. Hold on. I'll drop him out and I'll add him back in, see if he can talk. Rob, are you with us? James, you tell us a story about Rob while he can't talk then.
Oh, a story about Rob. Oh, no, I struggle when I get put on the spot.
Okay, well, talk about some of the laughs you've obviously had booting together, other than selling fucking Darth Steve some shit.
I don't know. I can't think. I remember. I mean, it's not a laugh, but I remember when Rob picked up a NES. I was really, really gutted because he'd left me like for 5 minutes, and I seen him up the aisle, and I was like, oh, there he is, and I trundled up to him, and as I get there, there's this lady putting a NES into a plastic bag, and it must have had like 20 games with it, and then I saw that, you know, the gun thing on the floor, and I was like, oh, there's the gun for it, yeah. And she's like, oh, sorry, yeah, and puts that in the bag, and Rob looked really, really nervous because he obviously thought I was gonna say something like, you know, oh, that's like worth at least 100 quid or something, you know. But obviously I knew not to drop him in it, but he looked really, really nervous, and I was inside, I was like, fuck, you know. But yeah, he paid a fiver for a NES and like 20 games, and I was so gutted. I never ever picked up a NES.
Never at the booter?
No.
I did. I went and sold it straight to Vintage Gamer for some credit because I'd already got one.
I picked up a few Super Famicoms, tons of N64s, a load of GameCubes. I even picked up a really nice minty inbox silver GameCube.
Nice.
But I never picked up a NES.
But you watched Rob pick one up, clearly.
I did, yeah. Live.
What I was going to say something. So he's not here, but Stu, how did you get to know Stu then, Tootie? Was that through YouTube or through the booters or through
Yeah,
both?
so well, if I just the reason I got into collecting was, I mean, I always have played games throughout my life. I would never ever class myself as a hardcore gamer at any point, but I always had the systems, even if I only had like one game for them. And I always, like I say earlier, the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo were the first consoles that I had. So I've always had like this love for Nintendo. Although, you know, I've had PlayStations, Xboxes, and Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. I've never disliked the other companies, but I don't know, there was always something special about Nintendo. So I was sitting at work with Rob one day, and I went, I'd love to have like a room in my house where it was like a little museum, and it had the NES and the SNES and the N64, and he says, well, why don't you just do it? And it was like, well, you know what I mean? It's like, where am I going to find that stuff, you know? And he was like, oh, I see that shit all the time down the car boot. So I think the next weekend I went to a car boot, and I probably like picked up a GameCube and, you know, 20 Wii games and, you know, stuff like that. So that's kind of where my collecting started. And so I started looking on YouTube for, firstly, it was just like car boot gaming pickups was kind of what I was looking for.
That's
And
what I used to search. UK car boots was my fucking thing.
yeah, I came across Tootie UK. And then I must have gone to the car boot, because it still used to go to a particular car boot in our area, but there was an even bigger one that was closer to my house. And I used to go there most, but occasionally I would go to this other one. And I would see this guy walking around the car boot with a massive, I mean, the bag that he used to carry was massive. You could fit a body in this bag. And
Is that when he used to go on his bike?
Is
that when he used to go on his bike?
I'm watching on YouTube. He looked really similar, but he also looked a little bit different. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then there was like a couple of occasions where, because I knew I'd worked out that he was after games, and there was a couple of occasions where it's like, I need to try and speak to him. I need to try and figure out whether this is the guy that I'm watching on YouTube. So I sort of started, you know, I'd bump into him and around, and I'd go, oh, there's some games over there, mate, you know, blah blah, trying to get a bit of a rapport, if you like. And then one day I just said to him, I goes, are you Tootie UK? And he was like, yeah, I am. So, and that's how it started.
And then obviously you and Stu become quite good friends, I'm guessing, from that.
Yeah, so I think for a couple of weeks it was just, you know, you're right, and well, have you seen any games and stuff like that? And I don't specifically remember, but maybe he mentioned, or you know, a group of us are going to an event or something. I forget, but yeah, it just little by little became a friendship. Yeah.
And was he the one who talked you into doing YouTube, or did you do that off your own back?
No, yeah, he would say, why don't you just do it? You know, I never really felt comfortable. I like the idea of doing YouTube, but I don't really feel comfortable going, oh, this is what I picked up and this is what I picked up and stuff like that. I don't know, just, you know, if you don't enjoy it, there's no point in doing it, is there? So that's why I kind of never really continued doing it. But when I did those videos of Japan, I really enjoyed making those videos, and I really enjoyed editing the videos, even though it took me hours and hours and hours to edit all those videos.
Those videos of where you went on holiday.
Sorry, mate.
those videos of when you went to Japan, your videos around, I thought they were some of your best. They were brilliant. They were. I did really
Yeah,
enjoy those videos.
you can. I mean, obviously, I'm a complete novice. I haven't really done anything since, so I can't even say that I'm better at it now. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stu's having a moment here. I might need to text him and see if he's well enough.
Yeah, so he was going for a full GameCube collection, and one of the games that he needed was Kirby Air Ride, and it was a local pickup, just a few miles away, of this girl, and she was selling her brother's GameCube collection. He'd moved out of the family house, and she was selling his GameCube collection, and she was selling. He had Fire Emblem, Kirby Air Ride, and then a lot of other games, but she didn't know what they were worth. So I rocked up and I bought them, and I bought, there's probably five games for about 80 quid, and yeah, so and because Stu needed it, I gifted it him.
I bet he's upgraded it at some point now, though, isn't he?
He would have, because it was absolutely fucking mint. Absolutely. The only way you would have upgraded that is by finding a sealed one.
Fair play. So we talked a bit about YouTube. Is there any chance of you coming back, or is that it? Are you retired?
No, never say never. Like I say, I aspire to do it. I would like to do it, but I've got no interest in just, I love what Tootie does. I love watching Tootie, and in yourself, and there's a lot of others that do it as well. I don't think I could bring anything to the party really, and I don't really feel comfortable doing it. So
I think your niche market would be like. Sorry, I think your niche market would probably be going round those what's they called, book offs and stuff like that. That is something that we don't see an English person doing that.
Yeah, to do that, I need to go get a GoPro and stuff like that. And obviously, if I need a GoPro, I'm gonna have to set up a Patreon, and you're gonna have to do that. So,
can we hear? This is from Stu. Can we hear about game hunting in Japan? See, this is Stu trying to plan next year's holiday now, isn't it? Because I know he wants to come out and visit you, so he's already planning ahead here.
I don't know. Just imagine going into a charity shop, but instead of a bucket of old Cliff Richard CDs, you've got a bucket of retro games.
It just does seem over there to be wall to wall. And this is my question to you. All the stuff in Japan, a lot of it seems to be a lot better condition than what we find over here. Do you think that's due to their culture of how they're brought up to look after things better than we are? I don't know. That's my feeling anyway.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, yeah, maybe there is something in that, but I mean, you do find a lot of fucked shit as well. It's not all roses. There is a lot of shit, but yeah, there's a lot of good stuff as well. Particularly like with Nintendo boxed stuff. You got more chance of running into a minty box here than you have in the UK.
Do you think that, like, I especially think, especially with Nintendo, it's like almost like, I don't want to say just English because it's probably the same in America, that the box is the disposable bit and you throw it away, whereas over in Japan you seem to find a lot more nicer box stuff because they don't throw it away, sort of thing.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, because like my Super Famicom and my N64 collection, I gave up trying to get box stuff, even though I've got much better chance of getting box stuff here than I would have in the UK. But it's still 99% loose stuff when it comes to SNES cartridges and N64 cartridges, things like that.
Right, we can stop talking about him now because yeah. All right, mate. Did you have your fish fingers?
It completely cut off. I'm so sorry. I do apologise.
You're not coming on a third time. You know that, don't you?
I want my ball.
You want your ball?
On Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, I think you should have a thing. You should have some awards. You know, like you get a 100,000 subscriber award from YouTube. You should have like a 3 times appearing on lockdown.
Yeah. Worst internet on lockdown. Rob's winning.
I've never known it to just cut off. Just literally just cut off. Not recently, anyway. Sorry. I was saying to the guys before the stream, it seems to be really bad whilst we're on lockdown. Also, I live in the middle of fucking nowhere. You know, bumpkin land. It's dial up still.
Apparently, someone said I was disappearing last time. No, that was the second one. I had a nightmare when I was trying to do everything wired, and that just didn't work with the MacBook. Rob, do you have a channel? Someone asked. No, Rob doesn't have a channel. But are you going to do one? Can we convince you?
I've come close, but I think I've probably said this before, maybe on here or certainly to the other guys. I just never feel, as much as I love watching everybody else's channels and what they talk about and their pickups and their collections and things like that. Even when I've had like really, really good pickups and thought, yeah, I'll do a video on this. I kind of look at it and I think, it's shit, really, you know. And I think this probably goes back. It's Stuart's fault. I think it kind of sometimes. I've said this to Stu before. He's got full set. He's got full Master System, GameCube, N64, Saturn. You know, it goes on and on. So then I think to myself, well, why? What does he watch? What like if he's sitting watching something on YouTube and they say, oh, I went to the car boot and I found FIFA 97 on the Mega Drive. Well, it can't be very interesting to him. So they're the kind of videos I like where people find the bargains and things like that. But if a lot of these guys now that watch it have all got massive collections and they've got all the games, they know more about the games than me. I can't sit and sort of, you know, educate anyone, teach anyone anything, or I always feel like I'm behind it. It'd just be like teaching people to suck eggs. I get
Rob. I think with car boot pickups, people are not really interested in, you know, the story about the game. They want to hear the story about how you picked it up, and I think Rob's really good at spinning the yarn, and I think people would be really interested in watching Rob, and it would be that thing where it's personality over, you know, what Rob could talk about anything and it sound quite interesting, I reckon.
I can attest to that. 100%.
Yeah, he's articulate, and you know, I don't know, he's just really good at telling stories, and I think he should do a channel, and that's where I fall down really, because I don't think I've got that kind of talky personality to pull it off. You know, I might be showing something interesting, but I'll be doing it in a really boring way.
I'll throw it out here. For a start, if you want to see anyone who knows fuck all about video games, I don't know a lot. I like video games, I enjoy playing them, but I have got very limited knowledge of games. I watch some other channels to learn, but I think I'm half decent at telling the story of the pickup. It's normally got some sort of like way of how I picked it up, which Rob obviously has as well. But I think you should definitely do a channel because everyone's putting in the comments that you should, Rob. I think it'd be interesting, mate, because as you say, you've got your stories of your pickups. You haven't got to talk about the game. Like James says, it's more about the personality and the person than the actual game, because everyone's probably seen that game 100 times, but they've not heard how you got that game. And to you, James, everyone's saying in the comments they'd like you to do a story of, like, you know, just retro gaming in Japan from an English person's point of view, because we don't have a lot of that. So there's calls for both of you to become active, Rob to become active and you to become active again. People want it. I'm just telling you what I'm reading in the comments. So Rob,
I'll have a think about it. You know, I'll see if I can get NordVPN to sponsor me, and obviously I'll set up a Patreon and
yeah, you'll get fuck all off any of these lot.
Send me the link.
You'll get fuck all off anyone watching on my channel. I'm telling you that now. But while you were gone, Rob, James told us the story about the NES that you picked up at the boot sale in front of him. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was one of my better pickups, you know. So yeah, you know, I won't forget that one. That because that was quite. I hadn't got a NES at the time, and obviously, you know, you can just go and buy a NES, can't you, and stuff. But that was always the thing, particularly I think for me and James, we kind of, you know, I've you could count on one hand how many games I've bought off of eBay and things like that. Even at the shows, I've never sort of gone around scooping them all up. I do much prefer to try and get, you know, the bargains from the booter. It's just it just feels better. I mean, we were talking the other day about the Dreamcast stuff, and a lot of that has now had to come from, you know, CEX, because you don't see them in charity shops and booters and things like that. But yeah, the NES, I hadn't got one, and we were, yeah. Well, if he's told the story, he's told the story. You know,
We want to hear your side. We want to hear your side because he said you just tell us your side of the events.
It was just early one morning. We're at the car boot, and I sort of, you know, how you're walking up and down, and me and James would often walk together. But James had stopped and he was speaking to somebody. I can't remember who, and there was a lady sort of between. But at the back of them, and the little lad, she'd got a little lad with her, and there was a bag for life. And I seen him pull the zapper out, and I sort of went sort of past them. And as I got there, it was a NES, and I think there was something like 19 games in this bag as well. And I looked at the lady and I said, "How much for the games console?" And she said, "Oh, £5, all right." I was like, "Yeah." So. But at that point, James appeared, and he was just sort of staring over this bag, looking into it. And I got all excited. I'm trying to give her the £5 before like some other lizard comes and says something. I know James isn't going to say anything. That's absolutely fine. So I scooped this bag up, but this little lad had took games out and the zapper and stuff and put them on the table. And James, you know, he had the composure to go, "These all go with it, don't they?" And he's slinging them all in my bag. And well, you know, it was good. It was great for me because I hadn't got a NES at the time, so it was quite early on when we were collecting. So I kept it, and I've still got it. It's down there, and it works fine, and it was lovely. Great.
Is that the one with the sign behind it that says "You missed out on this, James, you fucker" behind it?
Well, that's the way it goes, isn't it? You know, it is what it is. You know. This was the beauty of it. If we picked stuff up, but we knew the other one wanted something, you know, we'd happily swap. There was never any, you know, it's the same with Stu now. You know, I could walk around with all of you, and you know, it was never a problem. You know, he'd often give me loads of stuff. You know, and I'd look out for him as well. But I don't know. That was one of my better. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
I just want to go back to a story where Rob said that I just chucked shit in the bin. I never just chucked something in the bin, but I did give him a hard time over one game, and that was repeller fishing on the Wii, yeah, and so I think it was like probably like the first time that he bought something in that he'd got from the car boot, because once I started going to the car boot and I'm telling him, you know, I picked up this game, and he said, "Well, you know, when I go to the car boot, I'll look out for you." And so the next weekend, Monday morning, he comes in with this Wii game, and it's repeller fishing, but the sleeve was like completely torn in half, so it was like only like sort of the top half of it. The top half that was there was like completely coffee stained. Inside there was no manual, and the
limited edition
looked like it had been on a concrete floor for 20 minutes. Yeah. And he was looking all pleased with himself, going, look what I got you. know, like,
Was that the moment your heart broke, Rob? Was it that?
Honestly, mate, I've been at car boots. I've seen things like, lying there in the dog shit on the floor at 5 a.m. when it's like -2, running over. I've scooped it up, and he's done no more than just come and knock it out of my hands and go, put it down. It's fucking rubbish.
remember when you picked up a really rare game, Rob?
Yeah. You see, this is the thing. I don't profess to know that much about games, but I did see, because then it used to hurt my feelings when I went in on a Monday and he'd just pick it up with a tissue and drop it in the bin and not look at me and just carry on working. So I started to think, well, I'll do a bit of research. It was a Wii game, and it remind me, what was it? It was
Mad World on the Wii.
Mad World, yeah. But you see, the thing was, am I not right in thinking that that's kind of uncommon in the States?
Possibly, I don't know.
I mean, what I looked at,
Formula 1 09 is quite rare on the Wii in America. I don't know about Mad World.
You see, so's not to get my heart broken this time. I thought I'll do some research, and I'm sure I googled it, and I found some articles saying that it was uncommon or it was rare, and it was a Wii game. So I went, piling in. Look what I've got, and he just looked through me like with that stare that he does. Broke my heart again. And you're trying, aren't you?
We went to a car boot and we saw Mad World. I'm like, Rob, there's that really rare game.
I bet you don't fucking miss him, really, do you, Rob?
I do, actually. I do miss him at work. We all miss him at work. Not for his work prowess necessarily, although he was, quite gifted in that manner. But James was quite famous for not caring what he said to who at any given point, and really backing you into a corner and embarrassing you in front of people. I remember going into a meeting one day. I can't remember. I think it was finance or HR. We're with some senior people. I've never met them before. We sit at this oval table, and James looks at this woman and goes, "Is that the one you fancy, Rob?" And then just sits there in silence.
I don't remember that bit.
I fucking do.
I probably did do that.
So, Rob, did you only buy James shit games? Did you ever actually get him anything from the booths that he appreciated?
Oh yeah. I can't remember exactly what, but we picked stuff up. It was all good. I can't remember anywhere he got particularly. I mean, you can see. Look at the dead expression he's got. He doesn't get excited, does he? Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't matter. We used to joke that I'm just popping down the boot to pick up an AES or a Virtual Boy or something like that. But obviously, we'd often go to the car booths, walk round and around and around, and come away with absolutely nothing. But we'd still have a good laugh. We used to. We'd sell at car booths as well, and James would do everything in his power to make it so you couldn't sell anything. If somebody came to my stall and picked something up, he would openly tell them it was broken. And
that's probably true, though. That was probably
true. But it would just be a massive fuck fest. It would just be a fuck one another over fest all the while. If you could, then we would, and that's the way it was. And you accepted that, and we loved it. And we used to go with another guy, one of the lads from work. And most weeks he wouldn't even take the money that he'd paid for his stall. James, it was just beautiful. I
buy lots of just absolute crap, and then try and sell it at the car boot.
Yeah. It was just good fun. And if you picked up a couple of games along the way, then great. And if on the very rare occasion you picked up anything worth picking up, then great. But also, like, it goes back a little bit to sort of what we were saying. Now, James likes everything, mint. He likes it clean. He likes it crisp. I've never quite sort of gotten that, So it's very different. So it would get a little, James wouldn't probably pick so much stuff up. He'd be much more picky. Whereas I'd just be running around picking up, FIFA on the PlayStation 1. I'd buy it 8 times at the same car boot and be very happy about the whole situation. That's why I've got garages full of just broken cased shit.
and a shed full of wet stuff. Do you want to tell us? Does James know about what happened to your shed last year? Have you told him?
I don't know. I'm not sure. That comes
No,
from.
he hasn't. He wants to hear now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not particularly interesting, but this is where
your gym shed.
Sorry,
Your gym shed.
No, other shed next to it.
Oh, the storage shed.
The what, mate?
Your storage shed.
Storage shed. Yeah. Yeah. I decided I'd got quite a lot of big box Amiga stuff, and obviously it's in big boxes, isn't it? And it takes up a lot of room. So I moved it all out and put it in the shed. And I brought some of those boxes with like where the lids sort of close in on one another.
Oh yeah, like the next ones.
Totes.
No, I bought them. Bought them off a gypsy. There's a gypsy that sells them for £5, and then he delivers them to your house, but you have to buy 10. Anyway,
I'm sure that gypsy does round by me as well. Same guy.
they're all used ones. Anyway, they let water in, it turns out. So a lot of my Amiga stuff went. One day I went in the shed and it was all soaked, which was, it's disappointing because there's some nice stuff in there. And that was.
Why
did you put some stuff in plastic bags and it had stayed in the plastic bags as well?
Well, yeah, I showed you, didn't I? Can you remember me getting them out? And they were just like, as I was picking them up, the whole boxes were just falling apart in my hands. And
that would have made a great video.
That would have been the best video.
You see, a lot of shit always happens to Rob as well, and if he filmed it, it'd be comedy gold.
He doesn't have as much shit that happens to my mate Liam. You like my mate Liam, don't you, Rob?
Yeah, because it's. I can look at Liam and it puts my crappy life into perspective.
Poor Liam, man. But he's like, me and him, we go around the booters just ripping the piss out of each other all the while, like, or we'll just walk past and we'll go Mega Drive there to make the other fucker look or something. And that's all we do. And now we've started coming onto your territory because none of the booters are on round by me. But
oh, have you?
Yeah, we come. What's it called? I always see you at the indoor one that no one ever wants to mention the name of live on YouTube.
I've only been once.
It's busy enough as it is, isn't it? No one wants to mention it because no one wants to make it even more busier. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's unbelievable. I had a good week there the other week, though, to be fair. But fucking hell, there's that many people. In fact, the last time I saw you and Stu there, you were selling, and I had a fucking right hissy fit, and I left at 6 o'clock, didn't I? I was going mad because I hadn't fucking got nothing, and these two were stalling out. Rob was selling all the shit he'd picked up from the charity shop the day before.
It does sort of, though, like the shine's gone off it a little bit, I think, for me with car boots in recent times, because at the minute the arse has fallen out of, all your sort of your PS3, your PS4, your Xbox 360 stuff, the stuff that you can sort of scoop up and trade in. And you're not really finding a great. I know you've had a couple of good pickups recently, but there's so many lizards, there's so many people at it. It kind of has taken the fun out of it a little bit, and to get up really early in the cold and trudge around a wet field to just pick up a few Xbox 360 games. It's unlikely I'm going to walk around now and pick anything up that I actually want for my collection. So this, and the shine's gone off it a little bit there for me. But I do like the charity shops. I quite like doing that on a Saturday morning, going around and seeing what they've got for me.
Is that because you chat up most of the old dears in there?
You've got to do what you've got to do, mate.
They all seem to sort you out.
Well, it takes time, doesn't it? You just have to keep going in, going back, and expecting, I'm very used to rejection now in my life. So, I put a smile on my face and have you got anything? And they go, no. And I go back again. Sometimes I go back the same day,
No one's getting rejected more than me trying to get you that fucking Philips Discover at the local market to me. 5 times they've told me that fucking thing's sold. I keep going back.
I had a nice pickup on Marketplace this week.
Show us them being as you don't do a channel, you fucker.
Huh?
Show us then, being as you don't do a channel, you fucker. Show us your pickup.
I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this here?
That's another little telly, innit?
It's a little 5-inch CRT.
Oh, is that the one you showed in the group?
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. £8 off Marketplace.
I want to know why I'm not in this fucking group.
Have you got?
I'm really disgruntled to hear about this fucking group that goes on without me.
Have you got WhatsApp? Do you even have WhatsApp?
Yeah, of course I do.
Well, speak to Stu. Stu runs the group. He's in charge. He's forgot about you now. You fucked off and left him and Rob. They don't care about you now, James. You've gone and forgotten. I'll tell you the fucking truth, mate.
Well, they get your own fucking group.
DOC head down here can go to someone else then.
The what? What is it? Hang on. The what? Back up. What?
Neo Geo CDZ.
Oh, that's the Stuart, isn't it?
It's Neo Geo. This drive.
Do you know Rob can't play PC Engine CD games?
Yes, I do. And I dug out my PC Engine box the other day, and I'm gonna sort him out with one.
Good. Look at his little face light up there. Look at the smile. So, James,
it'll be the interface unit with a CD. You just plug your PC Engine into it.
I love my PC Engine. I had my PC Engine off, James, and I love it. I play it an awful lot. It's great.
That's all I see you and Stu do is just hang around the PC Engine stuff at Japanese Alan's store whenever he's at a fucking event.
Yeah.
In fact,
we don't buy it. We just hang around it.
You pile up a big, massive fucking stack to blow his mind, don't you?
And then walk away.
Put it and say, "Here, sort this back out, Alan."
We have a little look. We look through it all, and then we think, right, we'll message James later and get it off price.
I must say, James's prices are brilliant. If there's anyone in the comments who's interested in Japanese imports, what's the name of your stall again?
Kimiina.
On eBay, James will sort you out. Where's Rob fucked off to again? Don't get getting too many beers.
I was shutting the door. I was cold.
Oh, okay, mate. You got your coat on though.
I know.
So, James, are you actually collecting anything actively? Collecting anything for your own collection now? Is it all Japanese, the stuff you've got there? I'm guessing so.
Well, no, it's not. My Wii stuff. I don't know how many games I've got. Probably like 400. And I would say that 95% of them are PAL.
So you obviously took all them over there with you when you went?
I sold off most of my stuff apart from my Wii collection, really, because I don't know, the Wii stuff was so cheap it wasn't really worth selling. And I wasn't going to bring it with me. I was going to just store it at my mum's house, but then I don't know, I just decided to, which it cost me about £1,000 to ship it all over, all my gaming stuff. It wasn't cheap. But I kept it. My GameCube stuff, I regret selling some of it because some of them were not necessarily PAL exclusives, but ones that you couldn't get in Japan, like Burnout, for example. Burnout 1 and 2 was never released in Japan. And also like things like Zelda that you can't play it in. Well, you can play it in Japanese, but it's not as fun. I mean, I can read Japanese to a degree, but you know, it's not as easy as just reading English.
I am listening, James. It's just someone's asked how to spell your shop's name. So if I'm not mistaken, that's correct, isn't it?
That's right,
yeah. That's James's store. And if people want to buy, they should message us so you can click out.
If you go to Kimiina.jp, and that's like a landing page for eBay and social media and stuff like that.
I'll just type that in the comments for everyone, because I know there's a few people on tonight who are big into their Japanese stuff. And to be honest, James, you've always done me stellar deals. You've always sent really good stuff over. So I'd rather you made the money off it than someone who people don't know outside of the obviously UK based. Well, you're not UK based anymore, but UK guys. So I'll always happily promote your stall on my channel. To be fair, mate.
Thank you very much.
Curious.
A mystery box. You want a James mystery box? Is what you want? What you want?
Well, you know what? I am a bit bugbear.
Send him some money and just stick back away.
He never sends me any sweets. I know I'm diabetic, but you know, I'm allowed a few Japanese ones every now and then.
Yeah, I used to. When I first started selling, I did put sweets in the packages, but you know, cost.
I know she always gets some. Curious, Glory Hunter Scott. He's a big Xbox collector. Curious, do Japanese buy PAL and NTSC games? You know, like how obviously we buy Japanese games. That seems to be very trendy.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are people that do. I don't think it'd be anywhere near the scale of Americans or Europeans buying Japanese stuff, though.
No,
I'm sure there are.
Gruss says you hooked him up with his Mega Drive Mini. You did with me as well, man. You sent me a lovely Mega Drive Mini over as well. So, James, you're a very popular guy in the community. Start making fucking videos again.
Yeah, like I say, I'd like to. Just, I don't. I think people use the excuse I don't have the time a lot, but I'll be honest. I'm lazy. I'm anal. I want things to be how I kind of picture it in my mind, and it never ends up like that. And so, you know, I say I'll try. I probably won't.
I'm going to ask you something. So, you know how we do all like this big like arcade club meet up here in the UK and Blackpool. Is there any chance of you having a flight over and coming to one of these at some point, or is it too much of a ball ache?
I'd love to. I'd love to, but
Stu will put you up, or Rob.
Yeah, that's not really the issue, but yeah, I'd like to, but you know, even when flights are on, it's going to cost, you know, like 600 quid just for a flight. So,
is that how much it is to travel from there to here?
Yeah.
Well, if you weren't so fucking lazy, you could get on the fucking buzz or something. If you set off now, you'd be out by the time lockdown was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stu's written lots of comments tonight, so I'm glad he stayed in the stream. Get less lazy. Do GoPro uploads raw. I'm hoping he's on about fucking gaming content there and not something completely different, if I'm honest. Although he'd probably watch both. Harness mounts. Everyone's saying you need to do videos, James. That's the be all and end all. Gus can't say nothing though, because he only does his occasional live stream that he fucks up.
Yeah, I mean, I even bought you know, an Elgato and thought about doing live streams and stuff like that. I just don't get round to like a lot of my projects and stuff like that. I start them and I never finish. I've got an SF1. I'm staring at an SF1 right now that's in a million pieces. It just like needs all recapping and stuff like that. I'll probably never get around to doing it.
I think
I have room for one of them.
You what? You've got.
I just have. Yeah.
It's the big one as well.
Yeah, just I have room.
Shipping it would be a nightmare, I imagine.
Rob would look at it for you though if you sent it. I'm sure he would.
I mean, I'd like to get it up and running, and use it myself, and put my shop twin Famicom hooked up to it as well. That'd be a little sharp setup.
What colour's that one?
It's the black and green one. It's the Model 2.
That's the one I've got. That is Simon Locke's got mine. He's fixing the.
I don't think you've got this one. This is the Model 2 one. It's like a slightly different shape, and it has a power light.
Yeah, that's the one I've got. Simon Locke's got my one at the moment because the disc fucking band's knackered on it. So he's taking it apart and fixing it. I paid 50
Yeah,
quid for that.
these disc drives, you can get lucky and just put a new band on it and it work. But a lot of the time you have to realign it, and they're a fucking nightmare.
I've put an idea clearly in Stu's head now. I reckon between us all, sell some tap cheap and we could easily get the airfare.
That's it. If you support me on Patreon, so I can go to the UK.
I.e., sell us all.
We'll do a GoFundMe.
Yeah, we'll say that you've, and then
I can appear on what's he called? Oh, fucking
I don't know.
Daniel Ibison.
Oh, fucking slime.
Yeah, so I can do a kick scam. Yeah.
What we'll say Rob's your long lost brother, and like I'm like Cilla Black, and it's surprise, we're gonna unite you, but we just need to get you back from Japan, and I reckon we could do it within a day, no problem. Everyone's saying set up a coffee. That's that new one. That's not Patreon. It's like fucking buy me a coffee. Rachel Van Basten said there's 30 watches. It's only 20 quid a piece. Gruss Newton says we could all go and visit you in Japan. Now, that's something you thought about, isn't it, Rob?
Me?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to. I can't fly.
Yeah,
oh, no, you can't.
Yeah.
I forgot you can't fly. Stu says, I'm definitely still back. Is it Stu who's on about going to see her? I wouldn't fucking put Stu up. He's a walking
I know
fucking...
Stu would love to go to Japan. I know he really would. He will go, I'm sure, one day.
Yeah, I hope he does. I hope he comes over.
Imagine his fucking knee on a flight, though, Rob.
Oh, he'd get there. His fucking cookie legs would fucking crumble and fall off.
He'd be like Lieutenant Dan by the time he got off the fucking aeroplane, wouldn't he?
His back, his neck, his legs, his knees, his ankles.
That man's fucking... he's just a broken man, isn't he, Stu? You can't go to an event anymore.
Also, how long's the flight? It's like 12 hours, is it? A direct flight?
If you fly direct, it's 12 hours.
Unless it was just stew and lots of beer on the plane, there wouldn't be enough to keep him content for 12 hours.
Someone's asked in the comments, why can't you fly, Rob? That's Glory Hunter. Are we allowed to share that story?
There's no story. I've just had some bad flights, and I've decided that's it. I ain't doing it again. The last time I have genuinely had some really bad flights, and the last time I flew, I think I got so anxious that I sort of went a little bit mad on the flight and decided that I thought it would be better if I landed the plane. So I'm doing it again.
Fucking hell. Rob, you said you was nervous the other day and you say about anxious. You always come across as the least... Is that why you talk so much? Because that's probably why I think I talk so much.
I'm not really an anxious person necessarily, I don't think. But, I don't like flying. I've done it plenty of times. But the last time that I flew, I thought, yeah, that's it. I ain't doing this again. I'm putting myself through this. So I just drive there now.
It's a fucking long drive to Japan.
You're not playing Crazy Fool.
Yeah, I saw that. Ratio Van Basten and fucking Gruss. We'll put something in your milk, Rob, and get you over there.
Rob, I just wondered, your gambler, did you ever upgrade it to the new pound coins?
No. And you know what? Unfortunately, the sound seems to be broken, so that's something I'm going to have to look at.
Sell it to Darth Steve. Get a new one.
No innards. Yeah. Means me. It's you probably can't really see. I don't know if you can see. It's a Mario Kart one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I just thought it was like a standard one. Don't sell that to Darth Steve, then. He won't appreciate it.
It's a Mario Kart one, but we sat at work one morning and we seen it for sale, me and James. And James said, "Oh, get it." And I was like, I can't get a fruit machine. I've got no way of getting it back. And anyway, within 2 hours, James had made some phone calls and got some people, and it was in my house. I hadn't even left work. Right.
So James has always spent your money then, has he?
Oh yeah,
I'm
you could
very
do
good at
that.
spending Rob's money.
Yeah.
So right, we're coming into the last 10 minutes now. Hang on, fill it with bricks, and I will be interested. Says fucking Steve. So he's still here. So did you both meet Darth Steve through the booters as well? I'm guessing so, yeah?
James
just bumped into him.
Sorry,
one at a time, please. James can go first because you've rabbited enough.
I just bumped into Steve at, I think it might have been the indoor one, I'm not sure, the
indoor one that no one will name.
Yeah, and then I've seen him a few times at various other car boots, like the ones where you go over the border into Leicestershire.
Don't go to that one in Coventry at the fucking rugby club. I got a fucking ticket for going in the buzz lane there. You know, the one just if you come from the indoor one and head back towards Coventry, there's one at the rugby club there. I've got
you're giving the area away now.
It's Coventry, innit? Look, man, everyone knows.
How many car boots in Coventry are there?
There's quite a few actually, because I always look for other ones, so I don't just go to that one because I'm normally bored at that one come 7 o'clock. So, did you meet Darth Steve then? Was that at the boot sale then, Rob?
I think, to be honest, I think that how it came about, and this has happened a few times, that I've watched YouTube channels, and then you see them at car boots. So obviously they don't know me because they don't know me, but I know them. And I think I'd watched Darth Steve, like I say, in my early days of starting to collect, and people like Stu. And then I seen Darth Steve one day, and I was like, oh, hello, I'll watch you on the telly. It happened oddly. It's how I met Scott Glory Hunter. It was late one Saturday evening. And sometimes I used to, a bit like you, Dana, I wouldn't go to bed. I'd just sort of sit up, watch TV, and then go to the booter. And I was doing it one night. And what I used to do was look to see what Stu had watched, because I'm very lazy, and not find people for myself, and look to see what Stu had liked on his videos. I'd watch the same thing. He says it's stalking. I don't think it's stalking. Anyway, he's since fucking stopped me because he's made it private. But he'd watched Glory Hunter one night, and I sat here about 2 a.m. watching his videos, and then I went to the car boot, and the first person I seen was Scott, and I was like, "Oh, hello! I've just been watching you on the TV."
You know about you stalking?
I honestly got no idea of what.
You know how you go about stalking Stu's YouTube watch list, and you used to moan that mine was always hidden. Mine's not hidden anymore, but I wouldn't go. I don't watch just fucking gaming stuff. I watch all sorts of weird stuff. You don't want to go looking at my YouTube.
Well,
I've just realised there's 31 other people watching this now who now are going to go and watch my fucking YouTube watch list.
Well, since Stu stopped me seeing, I haven't turned the telly on.
Have you not? Has your missus turned the oven off? Is the more important question.
Probably not.
Right, we're into the last 5 minutes, so I'm going to start wrapping up. I want to say, first of all, thanks for coming on again, Rob. It's been brilliant. You are literally the one person everyone's requested to get on again, so I'm glad you come on. And I'm glad your internet's been a little bit better this time.
Yeah, you're welcome. I am so sorry about that little bit blip.
No, you don't say that. But
we'll be all right.
James, want to say thank you so much, man, because you've obviously made a massive sacrifice by getting up this early in the morning. And when you said you wanted to do it, I was so pleased, because it's good to bring someone not back on the YouTube, but someone who's been on YouTube, don't do videos anymore, and bring them back so people can just see how you're doing and stuff like that. It's been a real honor.
I mean, if you want to do like a chat at a reasonable time, I'd be up for that.
Well, what's reasonable time for you?
I don't know, like 6 in the morning would be better.
Okay, so that would be me starting now.
Yeah.
We'll think about it. I'll throw it out there. There is a chance that once all the lockdowns finished, I might do like a monthly or fortnightly stream with different people if we want to talk. So, but if I did that, I'd do it especially a little bit later if you were going to be on, James. But the other thing that I wanted to do is like I've had each guest just saying a message to everyone, obviously during these surreal times. So, Rob, if you want to send another message to everyone, like I don't know what you want to say, please do.
Oh yeah, well, thanks for watching. Thanks for having me back, Dana. Just I don't know really. What can I say? Again, just everybody, just look after yourselves. It's a really really strange time, and I hope that Mr. Johnson gets a bit better because I feel really bad for that guy at the minute. I think even if he wasn't your favourite, you could see that he was really really trying to get us on the straight and narrow, and that is. So best wishes to him and best wishes to everyone else out there. And James, it's amazing to see you, mate, because obviously we do chat from time to time, but with the time difference, it doesn't make it that easy. So we haven't really spoke very much. So it's wicked to see him. Absolutely wicked.
Yeah, well, that was one of the main things. Once James said he was coming on, I thought maybe because you two are such good friends, it would almost be a little mini catch up for you guys. So I'm so pleased that I've been able to do that, to be honest.
Yeah, thanks.
So James, if you've got a message for the people of England, Japan, the rest of the world.
It doesn't feel very surreal for me. It's just like it's normal, but with like a few things sort of closed. I mean, I do sometimes watch Sky News, and it does seem a little bit mad what's going on over in the UK. Like with shopping habits and obviously now the lockdown and burning 5G masts. I mean, what the fuck is that all about? But so yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. It's not really. I don't feel as though I'm in the same world. It's really really strange to see that. I mean, my mum has asked me to send her some masks and stuff over because she can't get them over there. And
well, you can't pass the message on to Rob because he's just fucked off.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, fuck this shit, you boring cunt." But just
Oh no, he's coming back. He's coming back.
Sorry.
James just sent you such a fucking lovely message, and you went.
It was
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there, and I can't really. I don't feel qualified to really comment.
Okay, well, just say a message to the people who used to watch you on YouTube who are here now, to them, without being about lockdown. Then.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's been fantastic to come onto your channel.
Was your man dead? Is that what you said?
No.
No, I'm reading the comments, and obviously it got cut off. And he made such a heartfelt comment. And I'm reading it. It's like, did he wish me dead?
No, he didn't wish you dead. But you obviously thought he might have done.
Yeah, that would be it.
So anyway, James, if you want to finish your message, you've not wished anyone dead yet.
No, I don't wish anyone dead. No, just carry on doing what you're doing. Carry on with your YouTube. Obviously we all like watching YouTube, so if you are a YouTuber, carry on doing that. And it's a bit hypocritical me saying that because I can't be bothered, but.
Give me something to watch is what you're saying, basically, James.
Because I mean, my sort of day job, if you like, is, cleaning controllers all day long and stuff like that, packing things and sending it out. So I have YouTube on all day long. It's not just gaming stuff. I mean, it is literally a one-stop shop for me, and I watch all sorts of stuff, but yeah.
Nice. So anyway, I want to thank you both for being on. Hopefully we'll see you on YouTube on your own channels, maybe at some point in the future. And I'm just going to drop you both backstage while I say bye to everyone who's bothered to watch. So again, thank you.
Dana.
No worries. Oh, my clicker's not working. I'm stuck with my mouse. Robbie broke my internet. Right. Oh no, James
I'm
is
still
back.
here, I'm still here.
Fuck off. Right, guys. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in and watched tonight. As you can both agree, they're two great guys who've had a really great friendship over many years. So I'm great that I could get them both on. As Stu said, a little bit like Cilla Black, getting them both talking to each other. James is a true gent. If you've ever dealt with him by buying stuff, you know how much of a gent James is. So please check out his shop. It was in the comments earlier, so go back in the video. Rob again has been a great guest. You know, they're both two top guys, and that's all I can ask for when I have guests on this channel. I'm taking Wednesday off because I take Wednesdays and Saturdays off. No, Wednesdays and Sundays off. I'll be back on Thursday, and you 100% don't want to miss the two guys who I've got on Thursday. So take it easy. I'll see you all on Thursday.